Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. It is February 27th. I'm your host, Lucas. It's day 2 of doing COVID reflections. A little rough, but we're getting through it. I've got a great reflection today from the Hazelden Field Guide to Life app called Enjoy the Beauty of Life. And I know it sounds tacky, and it definitely can have a little bit of that like hippie feel to it, and some days I'm all about it, other days I'm not in the mood for it. Today's a little bit of both, but I was digging it. I just thought it was a good message to want to put out there. So I'll pop it up on the screen here. You can read along and let's get into it. So enjoy the beauty of life. Are you starting to incorporate sober fun into your daily life? It helps to think about what you're feeling and what kind of fun might best accompany that feeling. If you're feeling curious, it might be fun to try something new, such as a class, volunteer opportunity, or museum visit. If you're feeling restless and energetic, put that energy to use during a hike, walk, run, or bicycle ride. Offer to help someone else, or clean your house while listening to your favorite music. If you're feeling tense or sad, try meeting a friend whose company you really enjoy. Or if you'd rather stay home and be quiet, take a warm bath. You'll soon discover that the beauty of life is all around you. If you think you can't enjoy your life without getting high, recognize that this is your addict talking, your addiction talking. Talk about these thoughts with your sponsor. Action for the day. Describe the ways you have experienced the beauty of life in the last week. How is your experience of life different than when you were using alcohol or other drugs? And thought for the day. Smile every day. Recovery is a serious business, but don't forget to have fun. Yeah, see, there are a lot of good messages in there that I like. I think that main one of recovery being fun, of life being fun, of life being enjoyable again, I think that's one of the biggest ones. And I think in recovery, that's something that actually isn't talked about nearly enough. That's been my experience. It's always it's work. Recovery's hard work. It's one day at a time. It's all these things you have to do, and then like, especially like in 12-step, they have all the stuff they want you to do, and in rehab, it's just tons of classes and assignments and homework and therapy, and it's all exhausting and all of that. And like, all of that is great. It's good. It's clearly really important, and if you're an addict like me, you need all that stuff to be able to get sober. But then staying sober, I think I've seen it a lot of people relapsing because they're not getting a better life out of this deal. They're not enjoying it. They're not having fun. They're not progressing. Like, there's still, whatever it is, there's still something missing. And yes, like as addicts, we always have that feeling of the void, and how do I fill the void? So that's always present in there, but that's it's like adjacent, I think. Like it's connected, but it's not. And in recovery, there's so many other little things we can do to give ourselves a more fulfilling, happy, joyous, and free life. And that comes like aside from a lot of doing all of that work. So having fun is really important and isn't talked about enough. It isn't stressed about enough. And especially like if you're doing all of this hard work in recovery, especially in those earlier days, then us of all people, you need to reward yourself, and you need to learn how to reward yourself with not drugs, not your addiction, right? There's two kinds of rewiring that are taking place here. The one is learning how to replace that reward from the addiction with something that is better, healthier, more productive for you. So there's that. Well, I guess they're kind of the same thing. That's a really, really big one. And then, I guess I'm talking about the same thing. That's the really main rewiring is just doing that for yourself. And because that's how our disease manifests and grows, I actually just wrote, you can check out our blog page. I just wrote an article about this, the difference between addiction and dependency, and talking about them. And I talk a little bit about how we cross over from dependency to addiction, those things that grow. And that's one of the main things brain chemically that changes for us, is that reward system just gets totally hijacked. So it takes a lot of work to healthily rewire that. So if you want to get into more of the neuroscience behind addiction, which is cool and fun, that's one of the key ways to do it, is learning how to reward yourself in other, better, healthier ways. Also in a little bit more reasonable ways, instead of these extreme highs and lows, or like we use, and then just like that reward center, all that dopamine just goes flying off the wall. Working on taking 10 or 20% off of there at a time, and having a bit more like reasonable, healthy, manageable routine rewards for ourselves for doing all of this work. So anyway, bit of a tangent. Doing all the work in recovery, yes, must reward yourself for doing that work to be able to keep going, be able to be rewiring your brain in that reward center, and then also just to fucking have fun. Like, honestly, if I'm not getting a better life out of this deal, why the hell am I staying sober? Like, really? Really? That's such an important question. And again, I don't think it's asked enough or talked about enough. If you're not getting a better life out of your recovery, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? You know you need to. Great. Don't ever lose sight of that. Keep looking for ways to make that life better then, and more fun and happier, and incorporate these things you always want. You know, that's another, actually. There's a video on our channel. It's called the Top 5 Exercise. So check it out. That's another recovery coaching video I did. And it talks all about just reminding yourself about things you've either always wanted to do, you lost sight of during addiction, you used to do, and then they fell at the wayside because of addiction. It's a really good exercise, so go check it out. I'll put the link in the description, actually. Or put a tag right up there so you can go see it and take a look. So anyway, that's a really good one. Just sidebar to help build on this, if that's something that's resonating with you. And then last, just so I don't forget, is I also do private recovery coaching. So feel free to send me an email, Lucas@Spotlight Recovery. I'd be happy to work through more of this with you and help you just develop and incorporate more fun into your life, right? Like I said, if we're not getting a better life out of this deal, what's the point? Anyway, there are a couple of things in this that were standing out that I really liked, I wanted to mention. I really like how in these opening lines it says, it helps to think about what you're feeling and what kind of fun might best accompany that feeling. Oh man, I love that recommendation so much. As I've said before, I think us addicts naturally are wildly emotional people. I know I am. And I think that's such a big common denominator of why we all use is to numb, squash, deal with those feelings instead of actually facing them, actually feeling them, and then actually learning and developing tools and things about life to incorporate them. A lot of us, we don't have those skills, didn't learn them, weren't taught them, or then as addiction took over, we let those fall to the wayside, and then the addict coping skills just kept coming out more and more, so we've like forgotten them almost, or they're really rusty. So I think that look and incorporation of how we feel and then how we act is really, really good. I think that's really good advice, and I really like that suggestion. And even, yeah, they can all seem kind of tacky, baths and house cleaning and walks and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, well, that's nothing like the parties I used to have when I was using, so that's boring. Like, okay, yeah, sure, I get that, but those are all the things that incorporate and build a healthy life for a person. And they're things that every person, like healthy people and normal people, do. And those aren't all the things we did because we were having these insane parties. And I'm not trying to take away from how much fun addiction could have been at some point itself. I think that's harmful to do as well. But if you're looking at recovery and you're watching these videos, then you know that's already unsustainable. Or you know that's not going to lead you anywhere good long term. You know that's not the answer for you anymore. So even if it's starting then with doing these healthy, basic daily things you have to do, that's still a starting point. That's laying a foundation of healthier behavior. You're getting more active. You're taking care of your body. You're living in a clean space now, not a gross ass drug den like I used to. You're building relationships with friends and family, it talks about. You're doing self-care. Like, these are all great things to start. And even if, okay, yeah, so they may not seem like a lot of fun right now. And I challenge you to, I bet if you throw on your favorite tunes and start dancing around and cleaning the house, you're going to be using some cleaning utensil as a mic within the next like 10-15 minutes. Challenge you on that right now. But anyway, what those things also do from my experience is they just help shut down the noise in your head. They just help clear out all these thoughts of, oh, that's not as fun. That's boring. This isn't going to work. Recovery is bullshit. Look at all these boring ass old dudes. Like it helps just clear all of that crap out of your head. It gets you out of your head. It gets you out of self. It gets you into action doing something else. And then that's what then allows you and gives you that clear mind to then be thinking better and be like, oh gosh, okay, yeah. All right, now I've got space and time. I've done the things I have to do. I've done my recovery work. I've done my chores. Now it's time for fun. What do I want to do? You know, great example. I've got reconnected. I just found a dance studio in town, and I'm going back out to salsa and bachata dance classes. Oh man, it is awesome. I did years ago. My ex was Cuban, so we did before, and that was super fun. I'm so rusty now, so long ago. But it is great. It is so much fun. And I'm going out every week dancing for free and meeting new local people. It's at a studio, so there's no drugs or booze or anything. It's an absolute riot. I'm going to start doing line dancing soon because that's another thing I miss that I used to do from a long time ago. Got to get those boots working. Like, so fun. And just having that clear headspace, having the free time because I've done all the things I need to do. I didn't avoid them like I used to as an addict, is what allows me to then think of and come up and Google and go do and try these things. So it may seem tacky, but I'm telling you, it really makes a difference. So give them all a try. Give them a shot. Okay? And then I like the thoughts of looking further into it. Again, if you're still feeling that resistance and questioning it, then journal on it. Write down what was the before and after looked like, right? What are things that have stood out for you that have been so beautiful about life right now? What are those things? What were all the things you were missing and feeling that weren't so beautiful about life, or you weren't seeing or resenting before that you're able to start seeing now? Even be willing to consider as an option, because that's still progress, right? That's still progress. I really like that. The thought's cute. The thought's very much of what I've been talking about for this whole share. And then, yeah, back with that main point, and then I think I'll wrap up here, is that by doing these things, doing the everyday life things we have to do, getting active, getting out of self, getting connected with other people, that's so much of what helps us enjoy the beauty of life. That's what helps us see these things so much. Just getting out of your own head is, oh my gosh, that's been one of the most crucial things for me in recovery. And doing all of these things is what allows me to do it. I love this line from the Marijuana Anonymous Life with Hope book. I can't remember the page it's on anymore from a new edition. But the line is, you can't think your way into right action. You have to act your way into right thinking. I'm going to say that again. You can't think your way into right action. You have to act your way into right thinking. So if you're sitting there going, life is still miserable, it sucks, it looks like shit, I hate this, what the fuck's the point? Well, get out of your head, stop sitting there thinking about it and stewing on it, because you cannot think your way out of that. You can't. If you could, you wouldn't need recovery. You wouldn't need a program or treatment or 12 steps or therapy or whatever. You can't. We don't work like that. We just don't. Okay? This is just a thing. This is a proven thing. Ask Andrew Huberman. Okay? So you have to act your way out of it. So get up, get out of that head, get in action and do something. Be it cleaning, hiking, seeing friends, bath, other self-care, whatever. Get your ass out there and do it. Get you out of the head. Once you remove and get these obstacles out of the way, that's what allows for the beauty to come in. Okay? If you don't have that out of the way, there's no room, there's no space. You're preoccupied. As addicts, we think obsessively, so how can that possibly come in? That's not how it's got to work. That's not how it's going to work. So you have to remove those things in order to make space for this to come in. Okay? So there we go. Man, amazing. I love it how starting this video, like I still do, like I feel terrible, but once I read and start getting into this, it just fires me right up. I love this stuff. I love recovery. Whoops-a-daisy. I love recovery so much. So I love this. So I hope that stood out for you too. I really hope you resonated with that reading. So share in the comments what does stand out for you with this. What are some beauties of life that you enjoy now because you're in recovery, or things you've been able to re-see and re-acknowledge? Okay, what are some of those things? Things that have helped you do that. Get out of your head. All the topics we've been talking about, share them in the comments. What stands out for you? Because it could really help somebody else, and we'd love to hear from you. Okay? So thank you for joining us. Please check out the description for all the other ways that we can help, and you can support the channel and share this content if you're really liking it. Great to see you. Wishing you another blessed 24, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.